So I am here at South by Southwest with Robin
Hauser.
Robin Hauser.
Yeah.
So I just got done with a panel watching Robin speak about male allyship and gender equality in the workplace, and I was really inspired. First, a little bit of background. So tell us about the work you've done, the movie you're working on.
Yeah, so I'm a documentary filmmaker. I made a film called Code Debugging the Gender Gap about the lack of diversity in tech. That came out in 2015, went to Tribeca Film Festival, and it's now been to like 85 countries. So that was a fun project. And I just finished making a film called Bias, which is about unconscious bias and how it affects us socially and in the workplace.
What's the biggest problem we're facing right now in the workplace where bias comes into play?
I'll tell you a couple things. Number one, I think one of the most surprising things that I learned about bias is that, which is fascinating, it's just like you can't do two math problems in your head at once. We don't have the ability to recognize biases within us, but we can see bias in other people really easily, right? So that's why it's such a difficult thing to try to break open and unpack. I think we all think of ourselves as open-minded and fair, and yet unconscious bias, implicit bias, is really at the foundation of what is assessing and forming our snap judgments.
So what are some things, I know it impacts a lot of us, we talk a lot about in the workplace, bias and how we can confront that. How can individuals, what can we do if we want to step up and really combat this in the workplace?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that we can do is to try to surround ourselves with people that aren't like us, right? So you have to try to break open and resist like me bias, to make sure that we're not just surrounding ourselves in this cocoon of yes, right? Not easy to do because in a workplace where the emphasis is really on expediency and efficiency and getting things done quickly, our tendency is to want to just do what's easy, and that is to hire people like us, to surround ourselves with people like us because they're going to agree with us, but that's clearly not always the best business decision. So that's something that we see often. I'll tell you another thing that I was really concerned about that I uncovered in this documentary was that, okay, we realize if you're human, you're biased, right? If you have a human brain, you're going to be biased. And what's fascinating is that I thought, okay, great, well, maybe artificial intelligence is the answer,
Yeah.
Maybe artificial intelligence could be the super solution to solve for human fallibility. And yet, it's well publicized now, but artificial intelligence is already biased. And because we're programming it, so we're just programming bias, systemic bias, cultural biases right into the algorithms that we're writing, and that's really dangerous.
And so I'll use this as an opportunity to leap into one final question, which is when we talk about who's programming it, a lot of men are programming right now in engineering. We have this kind of, it's lopsided at the moment, and we just got done with this talk around men and bias and men's role in the workplace. Anything specifically for men that want to step up?
I just want to recognize that I think it's a very uncomfortable space for most men. I think that there are a lot of really well-intended men. Men want to help, but they don't quite know how to navigate. It's like walking through a minefield, right?
Yeah.
They don't know if they're going to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, so they're hesitant. And I understand that. We were talking about the different stages sort of becoming a male ally, but I think it's really important for men to be willing to be an ally. And what does that mean? It means you're willing to stick up and defend women even if there are no women in the room. It's being able to notice when a woman is being interrupted or her voice isn't being heard in a meeting, and being able to say, hey, excuse me a second, I think Sarah is trying to say something and we should let her talk. So these are little things that men can do to be, helpful in a situation and to be an ally, and probably to be a lot more popular around the office.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Robin, so much. I really appreciated the panel today, and I look forward to having future conversations. So
great. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.